All right, everybody, welcome in. Here we are doing it. The state of Florida used to be the quintessential swing state, used to decide elections and be a bellwether. Of course, we know about the 2000 election, how close that was. Florida's been talked about for 25, 30 years about being the biggest swing state due to its high electoral college number. Right here was worth 30 points in 2024. And Trump won this state by a surprising margin. 6.1 million votes to Kamala's 4.683 million, and getting a percentage of the state at 56% to Kamala's 43%. No one really saw this coming. When you were getting deep into the election prediction cycle in September and October, most people were saying, hey, Florida, hey, Ohio, what were typically known as the biggest swing states in elections, we're going to safely go to Trump. Few and far in between, you were getting some predictors saying Florida might go blue to Kamala, but that was pretty rare. The consensus was that this election mattered a lot about the blue wall, states like Georgia, states like Arizona in the South as well. But Florida seemed to kind of be a foregone conclusion, and then it went more for Trump than people thought. I mean, 13% is a huge number, and we need to find out what happened to Florida that it's not being talked about in election cycles as the swing state it was, and that if you're looking ahead to 2028, I don't see why anyone within their right mind is thinking this is actually a swing state. I mean, it's just too big of a margin here to think that no matter really who the Republican or Democrat candidate is, someone's going to be able to close that gap, despite maybe something insane happening. So just to give you a better picture, let's look at Florida since the year 2000. So, of course, I had to put this in here all the way down to the smallest margin. 0.009%, it went Republican for W. Bush. In 2004, it spiked back up to a 5% victory for Bush. Obama in 2008, a very popular candidate, won it by 2.81%. So a big swing, 7.5 point swing. 2012, Obama a little bit less popular, down to 0.97% win. Trump able to narrowly get it in 2016, and that was the biggest swing state. That was, if you remember in 2016, that was talked about the most was Florida. Able to get it by 1.2% there. In 2020, surprisingly, because Trump lost that election, was able to get garner more support there to get to 3.36%. And then 2024 with a major victory at 13%. But I do want to interrupt. It's not just presidential elections where we're seeing this in Florida. Let's rewind to 2010 in the governor's race. No one remembers this probably, but Rick Scott used to be the governor of Florida. He's a senator now. And as you can see, the state does not look as red as it does in 2024, dark red. And Rick Scott only won this state in the governor's race by about a point, 0.15%. And then 2 years later, Obama won the general election here. In 2014, Rick Scott wins again by a point. A margin of 1%. This was the closest race of the 2014 gubernatorial election cycle, Wikipedia says. Let's go to 2018, where very, very popular and former 2024 Republican presidential candidate Ron DeSantis ran for the first time. I was shocked. A 0.4% victory for Ron DeSantis. I mean, everyone knows who Ron DeSantis is, whether you're on the left, the right, in the middle, don't care, like him, you love him, you hate him. A lot of people in America know who Ron DeSantis is. Very popular governor, only won by 0.4% in Florida just 7 short years ago. So what has gone on? Because in 2022, and this could have helped be a predictor for 2024, DeSantis blows out of the water his opponent, the Democrat Charlie Crist. 59.37 to 39.97, nearly a 20-point victory. Look at the map, people. What is that, 5? Yeah, I think 5 blue counties there out of 67 in Florida. Something has been going on. Something's been brewing there, probably since 2020, 2021. And as you can see right here, DeSantis wins 65% of white voters, 13% of blacks, 58% of Latinos, 69% of Cubans, and 56% of Puerto Ricans. So he's been winning the diversity, too, in the state of Florida, which is usually what the Democrats cling to help them win elections, and usually pushes their vote forward. DeSantis has kind of been marching onto that territory and taking some votes there. So this was a pretty good precursor if you were trying to make predictions on Florida about what would happen in 2024. But still, I mean, I don't know if we saw this coming. It's quite a shock. We have to talk about what is going on in the state, what is maybe shifting with demographics that we are seeing this. Let's go back and look at 2008, Obama getting 51% of the vote, as you can see, a lot bluer here with the counties. In 2012, he gets a little bit less support, wins by only a little less than a point. I forgot how close this was in 2012. I think maybe if Romney could have pulled this off, you could have seen maybe a little bit more of an interesting election. I do remember I saw a clip recently that I think it was CNN was calling this state in the 2012 election night coverage. I was watching a rerun, and one of the analysts said the Obama campaign is really celebrating. They think they've won the election now, just the way the math worked out. So this was a huge, huge state, 29 electoral votes, as you can see, and blue down in here in the South, and definitely more counties there going for Obama. Now, let's fast forward to 2016. Let's talk about this. Oh, we're at the bottom here. Let's go up to the top. Trump wins against Hillary a decent amount, 1%. I mean, it's Florida. It's been going by small amounts. Let's talk about why this happened. Why was Trump able to move Florida from 50.01% for Obama and the left to 47.82%, a nice little 2-point swing? What happened here in this state of Florida, which, again, was so fun to talk about? It was a huge swing state. As we can go through the counties, you're going to see a lot of them be red here. 4 counties flipped: Jefferson, Monroe, Pinellas, and I hope I'm saying that right, and St. Lucie. Hope I'm saying that right as well. So Trump flipped 4 counties. That's pretty standard with what we see. I've done election results analysis in the swing states of 2024. You should go check those videos out on my channel. But when we went through those, we saw usually 3 to 5, maybe 6 counties that flipped, and the result was they flipped a state. So that makes a lot of sense, right? What happened in 2020? So Trump grew his margin in 2020 against Biden, despite he lost the election to Biden. So gets about a 3.5% win there. Let's go to by county. Scroll down here. If I can scroll. Here we go. A couple of counties flipped. To Democrat. Pinellas, which Trump had got the last time. Seminole and Duval flipped, which is pretty crazy because Trump got more percentage of the vote. So we got to figure out where that was. Let's look at, let's try to find the most populous county here in Florida. Broward County looking pretty populated. Miami-Dade looked populated. Yeah, 1.15 votes cast. Let's look at that. So 45.98% for Trump here. Let's go quickly to 2016 in this tab. By county. Got to remember that 45.98% in Miami-Dade. Wow. 33.83% for Trump. Okay. So 333,999 votes. That's a pretty cool number. 333,999. To 532,833 votes. There was more votes cast, and he got a much higher percentage, about 13% increase. So that's what got him more votes in 2020. I mean, despite this thing going on down here where you got 3 counties flipping to Democrat, getting more votes, that is insane. And if we go ahead and just, I clicked on the wrong county. If we go ahead and just look at the demographics here of Miami-Dade County, as you can see, it's a very diverse county, 42% of a mixed population. That's probably I'm not seeing Hispanic, so that's probably taking into account Hispanic. Only 29.5% white, only 15% black. So very much other is 11.8%. So very, very diverse county. Not what you would think of as something that would move 13 points in the direction of Republicans. You'd think this is a Democratic stronghold, which, I mean, they had won it the last 2 times. But that is very interesting. So that's why Trump, I think, made up a lot of ground in 2020. Or not made up a lot of ground, but extended his lead. And let's go to 2024. Let's look at the bi-county down in here. And, whoa, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 counties that flipped Democrat to Republican. And these are monster cities, folks. If you've watched some of my other videos where we go over the counties that flipped or the big counties in the swing states, I usually do the top 5 most populous counties. Very rarely are any of the 5 Republican leaning or go towards Republicans. Usually the most populous counties are Democratic. And as you can just see, you don't even have to be from Florida to know Jacksonville's a major city, Tampa's a major city, Miami, St. Petersburg, Kissimmee. These are well-known big cities. And these 6 counties right here have an average population of 1.1 million. Miami-Dade with a huge amount of, I think, like almost 3 million. But the rest of these very big counties, and they all went to Trump. I mean, that is the story right there. That is very much the story. What? So Kamala got Orange and Palm Beach, which are very nice populations. Trump getting Miami-Dade by a nice percentage, too. A million total votes out there. Leon County, 157,000, good size. Gadsden, that's not big enough to really sway anything or do anything. Broward County, I've heard of that, 877,000 votes. Duval with 470,000 votes outstanding. Wow. They're not outstanding, really. 674,000 in Hillsborough, narrowly winning that. 227,000 in Lake, 394,000 in Lee. I mean, huge counties that are going for Trump. Pinellas, Pasco, Polk, all these right here. Quite amazing. And that's definitely what helped extend that lead to 13 points. I don't know if the next Republican candidate will be able to muster up the excitement or votes that Trump did, but if they can even get close, I mean, this could be a 7, 8, 9, 10-point victory again for Republicans. We'd have to see what happens in 2026. But what is driving this, right? So if we go to 2016, and we are in right here in the race column, as we can see, whites 64% went for Trump, 32% for Clinton. That makes sense. I think the Democrat, that's a little bit low. I think usually we're seeing higher. Black 84%. That seems a little bit low, like almost an underperformance from Clinton. Maybe why she lost. 8% for Trump. That seems about right. Stein 4%. That's kind of a big percentage there actually for a third party. Hispanic and Latino, 62% went for Clinton. Do you remember Trump was build the wall, all big on that, and it seemed like the Hispanic vote went a lot towards Hillary in 2016, just getting 35% there for Trump. Let's look at 2020. He did win the state in 2016. 2020, 62% for white, so it went down a little bit. 10% Trump went up 2%. And whoa, okay, Hispanic and Latino went to 53%, 46%. So that's quite a drop. 62%. Okay. Let's see if we can pull up this whole thing. Yeah, others. Well, 62% for Clinton, and Biden got what? Biden got 53%. It's a 9-point drop. Trump getting almost up to 50%. That's huge in 2020. That would explain Miami-Dade getting all the big votes that it did, despite losing the county in 2020. And other. So this has come up on my different swing state videos. Other, I think we will count that as probably like Indian. Asian might cover that. Other might be like mixed. Yeah, I think that's probably what that is. Okay, so other is 55% to 44%. Let's check in 2016. 58%, so it went down a little bit. Now let's check for 2024. Let's see what is going on, see if this can tell us anything. Okay, white about the same. Black down for the Democrats to 83%. I mean, look at it. It was at 84% for Clinton. It went back up for Biden to 89%, and then went down to 83% for Kamala. This is huge. This might tell the story, folks. Hispanic and Latino, 58% for Republican, 42% for Democrat. I believe I might have. Yeah, okay. In 2020, this was 53% for Hispanic. And in 2016, it was 62%. So 62% to 42%. That's minus 20%. And then Trump, conversely, or the red or the Republican getting 20 more percent. That's Miami-Dade County. Let's look at election results by county here. Yeah, Trump flipping Miami-Dade, 55%. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. That is the story, folks. We've been doing a lot of videos where we've seen Hispanic and Latino, that vote going red. It is mightily going red in Florida. That is why this state is no longer a swing state. Also getting 24% of the vote. So in 2016, for perspective, they were 18% of all voters. So they went up 6%. Black is at 14% here. White is at 62%. Let's check what it is in 2024. Down in white, down in black, up in Hispanic by 6%, and then you're also getting 20% on top of that increase towards the right. And that is a huge story. Oh, and the other. So the other, like we were talking like mixed, maybe like Indian, other ethnicities, 71% red. I mean, only 3% of the population, but that's huge. Wow. Other went up 35% for Trump. So the diversity in Florida is making this to where it's becoming more of leaning towards a Republican stronghold than being the swing state it was. It's not the white vote that's typically red. It is absolutely the diversity. I mean, look at the Latino vote. It's almost creeping up to the white percentage, and the other has surpassed that. So that's big news for Florida. That is a big trend going forward. I think that totally explains why this state has not been known as the swing state that it was, and why we're seeing this there, and maybe why we'll see a +8 or +10% for Republicans. We'll see in 2026. The Democrats have to definitely strategize and focus on getting that minority vote back, specifically the Hispanic. That population is growing. So you can see in 2016, it was 18% of the voters. Now it's 24%, and you've shifted 20% to the right. That is insane. What a breakdown of Florida. Let me know what you guys think, positive or negative. What do you think this state will look like in 2026 midterms and the 2028 general election? Why you think this happened necessarily. Truly interesting stuff. Thank you for tuning in. Look out for my other videos, and have a good one, everybody.